Happy Friday night, everyone. I just want to get on here and give you an update. So we had another change that happened today in federal court, and it's kind of a big deal. And so I kind of want to talk about it and talk about, what it looks like for us on Monday, starting on Monday, because we're going to be back in court. And, so lots that we have to consider. And so, I appreciate you guys tuning in. Hey, how we doing? I'm wearing orange for good luck. I hear it's a thing today. And so I figured, I would wear my Fridays best, because I'm trying to do my part. And so it's all about preventing gun violence. So I'm doing my part. And so I hope you guys are doing the same. So here's where we're at. Here's the deal. Um, the deal is they pulled another lug nut off our tire. And so what this judge has done is made it, use the analogy. It's going to be like a one-armed man in a boxing match with the other arm tied behind his back. And that's what it's going to simulate. And so, that's something that we have to be aware of walking into court on Monday is the deck is stacked against us. And so I don't want to get defeated. I don't want to get deflated, but I want to be motivated. And so my motivation going forward to today into Monday is to get people there. And so what I'm envisioning for this is we are going to pack that room. We are going to fill up overflow. We are going to send a message to the cameras that are going to be outside the courtroom, also the chief petitioners, and we are going to send a message. And so that's what we're going to do is we're going to use the tactics that we've learned through this, these couple of months of us going up into the Capitol building, and we're going to apply them on a scale that we haven't done yet. And so this is what I want to talk about tonight. And I want to talk about is the fact that this judge has, basically made it, and I'm going to put all the information in here let me see if I can shrink a screen. I'm glad you guys are here. Glad you guys are tuning in, because that's what really helps this get out and get the message out. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to drop the PDF into the chat. Hopefully it works that way. If not, then I will do it a different way. And so what is happening up there is the fact that, they keep changing the rules. They are changing what's going to be admissible. They're making it harder for us to have a defense that actually makes sense and actually is what about the topic we're going to be talking about. That's Measure 114. Things that we're going to be talking Measure 114 is we're going to talk about the constitutional aspect of this. We're going to talk about the permit to purchase process. Is that constitutional? We're going to talk about the magazine capacity. That's all part of this. That is going to be weighed on whether that is constitutional or not. And that's what we should be talking about. And part of that is our side should be able to present evidence that would support the fact. And I don't want to give too much away here, but I'm trying to paint a picture here. And I'm trying to obviously get you guys up to speed on the stuff that I know that I can share with you, because some stuff we don't want to get out because it's going to be part of the game plan. And I want to be very, very careful. What I want to talk about, mostly tonight is to know that, they changed these rules on us once again. We're definitely in the 11th hour. This is a Friday before we have court on Monday. Court's going to start at 9 a.m. I've already started planning routes. I've been doing, and so tomorrow, my post tomorrow is I'm going to have an actual route, like a place to rally point. We're going to show up. This is where we're going to park our vehicles. We're going to all stay together, and and that's what we're going to do. And so I just want to make sure that we're all on the same page when it comes to what we need to do. And what we need to do on Monday is we need to be there. And I know it's less than ideal for some of us, and I totally get it. So if you can't be there, then support the ones that can be there. We need people there, and we need people with the right mindset. Obviously, there was a guy that was just in here was talking this mess about tactical training, and we got to take our country back, yada yada yada. This is not the time for that. I'm not going to endorse that. So if the people that want to join me and want to be part of this and and have our voices and stand up for our neighbors, this is not what we're going to be doing. And if this is what you want to do, then I'm sorry, but I'm not going to be part of that. And I'm going to be very, very frank, is this is the plan. This is what we're going to do. And this is how we're going to do it. And this is the end result. The end result is we're going to show up like we did in Salem, and the news crews are going to be there, and we have to be smart about what we're going to do. And we cannot afford to be idiots, because they're going to paint us with this broad brush that all of us, this is going to be justified overreach on their behalf, because look at us, we can't even control ourselves when we're out in public. So it's going to be super important that we act appropriately, and that's what I'm kind of endorsing today. And so I'm getting, stand by with me 1 second. I'm getting the information that I want to share with you guys tonight. I'm putting it into our Google resource guide, which is, I don't know about you, but it's been really, really handy. Like it's a really, really handy thing having this stuff and having it, quick access, and it's very, very handy. So what I'm going to do is I just copied it. It's in the Google Drive. I'm going to drop it in the chat so you guys can see this. This is really unprecedented, especially, this close to game time. And so I dropped it in there. There's the Google Drive. What I'm going to do is I'm going to come over here, and give me 1 second. My tech is being techie. So this is the stuff right here. You guys, once we're done here, you guys read this. This is 6 pages. And, this basically, if you know anything about what we've been talking about the past year about, constitutional precedents, we're talking about the Heller decision. That's a huge one. This one, actually, this order that I just put in there, it contradicts the Heller decision, okay, which is a monumental, historic ruling at the Supreme Court level. This is also, everything is about, trying to discredit the Bruen decision. That's another thing that's going to be monumental. And so, this is stuff that they're trying to exclude. That's really, really important to know. Because what this does, excuse me 1 second, is this talks about, precedent, and they're talking historical precedents. They're talking about, other states. They're trying to bring in other states when it comes to the permit to purchase program in other states, but we could argue that the other states have not argued their permit to purchase process effectively, right? And so the problem we have here in Oregon is we don't have a process. We don't have an axle, we don't have a tire, we don't have a transmission, we don't have a motor, we don't have the body, we have nothing. Okay, when it comes to a permit to purchase program, okay, we have nothing in statute, we have nothing, no rules governing the way this is supposed to be implemented. This is a crapshoot at best. And we've seen since December, how the background check process has gone with people buying new firearms. We could argue pretty heavily that all of those have been a restriction of our rights, because we have not been able to have the ability to purchase a firearm in a timely manner as being law-abiding citizens. And so that's what I want to talk about. And so, hey, doggo, please. I got my little watchdog here. She's very ferocious. She hears something outside. So that being said, our move is to make sure that we're going to do the same thing. As long as there's going to be court up there, I'm going to be up there, and I'm going to be sticking a fork in the spokes every step I can. Right. And so this is what I'm going to put out to the people that are going to join us, right, is let's back up 2 years ago to the mostly peaceful protest. It was about 2 years ago, this same time of year. And, that's when we had the protest. And I went to a lot of these protests. I went there to kind of watch what happened, study behavior. That's how I learned, is I want to study my enemy so I know what my enemy is going to do, right? And so part of that I've learned kind of like their tactics. Where I'm talking about Antifa, and some of their tactic is, yeah, obviously the guys that have the bicycles, those are what's called blockers. And so what the blockers do is they patrol, right? They're the ones that are watching the crowd. They're the ones that are going to block roadways with their bicycles. They use them kind of and they can make a wall with their bicycles, and they're called blockers. Okay. And so from that, there's also the guys that have the skateboards. Those guys are the dangerous ones, because those are the ones that are called strikers, right? That's their only job, is to smash stuff with their skateboards. Okay. So if we see dudes with bicycles, that's a bad sign. If we see dudes with skateboards and black masks, that's a really bad sign. Okay. That means things are going to get broken. Okay. So my vision for what is going to happen up there at the federal courthouse is, obviously, it's a peaceful gathering. We're going to be there. We're going to put up a wall just like we did in Salem, and we are going to block, and we are going to make sure that our people get into that room. And so if that means we have to get there early, as soon as they get there, we're going to make a beeline for the elevator. We're going to go to the 13th floor. That's where the court's going to be held. And we're going to make sure that we are going to get inside that room. And obviously this is in a peaceful manner, right? Everything is respectful, but we are going to be the first ones in the building. Okay. We are going to outwork the opposition because they think that they're morally righteous here, and they're not. And so what we're going to do is we're going to make sure that we put a wall of people that's going to protect our people and let our people have their time in court, because we earn that. We deserve that right. And so, that's where I'm kind of envisioning here with this is we're going to have a rally point. I'm working on details, and I will publish those tomorrow. I don't want to give a lot of, extra time, because I don't know who's watching this, right? So I want to be very, very careful with what we put out, but I've already identified parking spots that are close by the federal building. We can meet outside, and we'll meet together, and we'll go through security together. So when we're talking about security, we're going to need to make sure that we have our IDs. We're going to have to make sure that there's no weapons, no knives or anything like that. Our cell phones are okay. We're going to have to turn our cell phones off once we get up into the building and up inside of the courtroom, because that's going to be a request of the judge. This is going to be a very, very tumultuous, emotionally packed situation. And so this is something that I really feel that if we do it right, like what we did in Salem, we made tremendous progress in Salem by just showing up, because they don't expect us to show up. And that's the biggest downfall of them is their arrogance. And so obviously we'll probably get away with it on Monday. Tuesday, it's going to be different. Tuesday, they're going to know that we're going to be there. And so they'll probably put a call out and make sure they get their stooges there, which is fine. They have the right to do so. I mean, they have just as much right as we do, right? But we have something that's so much greater. We have our neighbors that depend on us to show up and to make sure that they put a face to what is happening in the state of Oregon, right? And this is an overreach. I've been publicizing it. I had an article that dropped today in Ammo Land, or Bearing Arms, excuse me, which talks about that Freedom of Information Act request. I've sent that around every media source that I have in Oregon, and I guess it's not sexy enough. The fact that we've already spent over $1 million, we're going to be pushing at 1.5 million at least, starting Monday, I would imagine. And I'm supposed to be getting the rest of my Freedom of Information request on Tuesday. That's when they said they would have it to me, since they took my money and they cashed my check. So that's kind of where we're at. And I want to give you this information, and I don't want you guys to get discouraged. Okay. This is something that I don't want you guys to be discouraged here, because I feel that, this is something that we have to do. We have to show up. We have to be there. Just because they're expecting us not to be. There's going to be cameras there. There's going to be the media. And if you don't feel comfortable being in that situation, I get it. And I was talking to a guy today, and I think it's going to be very, very beneficial going forward as we get bigger and better at what we're doing, is we do some really official training. and we're talking about, media training, like what we're going to do when we're, this would benefit all of us. And so what we'll do is we'll set up some online meetings where we can learn how we interact with the media. I'm going to bring in a guy that I have from North Carolina that he writes letters to the editor, and this dude is solid, and he gets them published every time, and they're so pro 2A, and they are amazing, and he puts them in leftist newspapers every time, and it works. That's what we have to do, is we have to change we're in a culture war. Believe it or not, we're in a culture war. They're using, obviously this is an example of the culture war. They're using a red and an orange shirt as a weapon against you and your family, and be able to take away your firearms and your ability to protect your family. So this is something that, obviously Monday is going to be another skirmish in this battle, but this battle is going to go on for indefinite amount of time. And because I don't know about you, I'm never going to give up. And I would hope that you would join me in this fight, and this fight will last until we're gone, because they're never ever going to give up the fact that their failed policies leads to higher rates of mortality in our society, and they make billions of dollars off of that. They fundraise. This is a fundraising mechanism. This shirt right here, okay, every time somebody gets hurt, and I've got 4 or 5 emails today from Moms Demand Action from different people telling different sob stories. Look, I don't want to, I'm not making fun of people that have lost loved ones. That's not what I'm not trying to sound insensitive here. The problem is that stuff generates so much revenue for them. And what they do is they use that revenue to elect candidates that share the same message, that go into Salem, and they give you the middle finger while they're on the floor of the Senate. And then they take away more of your rights. And that's what they do. And this is the mechanism. And that's why I was trying to get through to people. And there was some people that joined in. If you guys joined in, you have all weekend to do so. If you guys did, thank you so much for doing so. I did. I did my part to end gun violence. I carried a gun every day, all day today. And I celebrated that fact. I used my hashtags, and, I did my part. And I know there's a lot of you that did that as well. And so that's what we have to do. Yeah. So no, yeah, Chris, thank you so much. Let's see here. Let me get onto here. Yeah. So let's talk about this one. I don't know. I don't know. This one, I was using them kind of as an analogy, so you can kind of understand my thought process around the way I want to set up the way we're going to take this room. And when I say take this room, I mean this peacefully. I mean this symbolically. That's what I mean. This is us planting the flag that we are there. We are here. We are paying attention. We are taking notes. We are engaged. That's what I mean. I'm not inciting any sort of violence or civil disobedience. I'm there as in peace. And so I want to be very, very clear with that. But I want to set myself up and set us up. So they're in the rear view. I want selfies of us with them in the back. That's what I want. I want selfies with us holding that line like we did when we were in Salem. That's what I want. And because we can do that, and they have to go sit in overflow, that's going to be a victory. And obviously we don't know what's going to happen in court. The judge is not doing us any favors. And what I'm thinking of, Antifa, I don't know if Antifa, because, Antifa is not a fan of Measure 114. The only way I would see Antifa would show up is if they know that conservatives are going to be there. They don't like, people on the right. They so that's their thing. It gives them an excuse to show up and break stuff, and I'm not, there's going to be a lot of eyes. This is going to be a very challenging situation, because there's going to be lots of cameras. There's going to be reporters, so it's going to be really, really careful. Be careful with what you're going to say, because you don't want that taken out of context. You don't want that used against us as as gun owners, you know. So it's going to be it's going to be a challenge. But if we rally together and we, you know, we keep up a stone wall, and we're going to do great things. And so, you know, that's kind of where I'm at. Is it just takes time. And so, you know, I wanted to give you that heads up. And just you could, once we get off here, you guys can read what I'm still trying to digest it. You know, and it just makes it so much harder for us to have a defense. You know, it talks about large capacity magazines. You know, that's the problem is we're in an information war. My magazine, which I have right here, this is not a large capacity. This is a standard capacity. Okay. This comes from the factory with 30 rounds. Okay. That is not a large capacity magazine. That is standard. And so, and till I'm no longer on this planet, when I'm 90, I'm going to be calling that a standard capacity magazine. My 17 round magazine in my Glock 17 is factory with 17 rounds. I do not speak the verbiage of restriction, right? I don't call anything a high capacity. I don't call things assault rifles. I mean, these are the things that they're trying to use against us. And so they're very, very successful because they have a bought and paid for media. They have, you know, so I saw this right here. This, you're going to go through metal detectors, you know, just be smart. And, you know, obviously the strength that we're going to have on Monday is going to be because we're going to be together. And so, you know, it's going to be really, really important as we keep together. It's going to be downtown Portland. It's, you know, there's lots of crime. There's violence, there's drug abuse, there's homelessness, there's all sorts of stuff down there. But the strength that we have is going to be together. And so that's why I've been looking at all these different scenarios. And wonder if I can do that. Give me 1 second. Let's see if I can do this. 1 second. I'm going to see if I can share my screen. Okay. So I'm going to go here. Can you, let's see. Give me 1 second. That's not going to work. Sorry. Give me 1 second. So that's not going to work. I was going to pull up my map that I've been looking at so we can kind of talk about our route. But I'll have that for you tomorrow. The problem is, the thing is that I want to make it really, really easy for people to get involved if they want to be there. And so that's kind of where we're at. And so just know, you know, what has changed today is they've made it harder for us to maneuver up there. And they've excluded more evidence. And I don't understand why it's so hard to understand these questions, and these questions that the judge is asking, right? And it's, you know, so this is clarification. So, you know, this person, this judge, I did like to see the fact that they brought up the 14th Amendment. I know Alicia will be happy to see that. They did talk about the 14th Amendment, which I think is an important thing to talk about. Also talks about large capacity magazines. Are those considered bearable arms? I don't know about you, but my magazine does not shoot itself. Typically, my magazine has to work hand in hand with something else that's considered a firearm, and that's how they work together. And so my magazine is not considered an arm. Actually, maybe it is. I need to clarify that. And I forget if there was a ruling that said that our magazines were considered arms. So maybe I misspoke. I'll figure that one out. I'm bringing up stuff for, you know, Let's see here. I'm sorry. I'm getting behind. Yeah. Alicia, I get it. And I tell you, I'll tell you one thing, and I'll tell Joseph this as well, is they're gonna have to get through me to get to you. Okay. And I know there's gonna be a lot of brothers and sisters with you that they're gonna have to go through them to get to you. And that's we're gonna work together, we're gonna protect each other. Our heads are gonna be on a swivel. And that's the point of us working the way we're going to work, right? And we're going to be in numbers, and we're not going to be separated, and everything's going to be fine. It's going to be a walk in the park. I always over prepare, as you can tell. I mean, I kind of have a flair for dramatics, and but it's always gotten me out of these situations. Okay, this is something that, you know, I'm comfortable being in this situation. This is not something that I'm freaked out about. So I want to make sure that I have everything. So tomorrow, what I'll do is I'll spend time, looking at Twitter and seeing if there's any chatter on Twitter that I can track down. So everything I try to do is I try to make sure that I have the best option to get out of the situation if I need to. And I'm not gonna lead you guys. If I'm leading, am I leading? I think I am at this point. I think I'm leading. So if you guys are coming with me, because I'm going, um, I'm never going to go anywhere that I don't expect you to go, and I'm never going to put you in that position. So please trust in me, and I'm going to put a lot of work and effort into making sure that our roots are good, and it's not going to be a problem. It's something as the preparation side of us, the training side of us. That's just what we do. Um, oh, thank you, Christian. Absolutely. 1 second. Oh yeah, these are all great. These are all great. Give me 1 second. So Christian, thank you for bringing this up. This is really, really important. Is without a valid CHL, I can't open carry a firearm without a round in the chamber, without a CHL. Okay, so they have different rules up there. Obviously, when we're going into federal court, there's going to be no guns. This is going to be a gun-free zone. So if you are going to carry a gun to, the parking area, it's really like proper storage of that firearm is going to be really, really important. Okay. There's going to be, obviously there's lots of crime in the area. So we never, ever want to give access to somebody. We don't want to lose our gun, right? We don't want it stolen, right? Because those are the guns, are the quote unquote ghost guns that are used in the commission of crimes. So it comes down to, we got to be responsible as much as we're trying to be safe and prepared and all this for these other things. This is just us going into court. This is just us, bringing a legal pad and taking notes and then reporting to the people that weren't there. That's what this is. And, obviously um, yeah, we're good. We're good. We're going to be together, and that's the thing, is there's nothing to worry about here. I'm being dramatic, and I don't want to scare anybody out of coming. It's just, there's going to be a lot of attention, and it's just really, really important as we behave accordingly, and so, that's kind of where I'm at. So I hope that helps everybody. You know, so any questions, comments, concerns? This is a really good one. I don't know who wrote this comment here. This is a really good comment, and our guns are used for good, and that's what we're trying to tell them. And I think the problem of where we failed as gun owners is we haven't made outreach a priority, and we haven't been inviting of those that don't understand us as gun owners, and that's something we have to do better at. And the one thing about the police down there, their hands are tied. They're yeah, absolutely. I think this is 100%. Greg, I really appreciate those comments. I think, and Greg, let me see where are we at here. So this one's directed towards Greg, And so sometimes in my live streams, there's some people that will jump in, maybe they have a comment that's, you know, could be taken the wrong way. So I kind of correct them and I talk about it. So one thing I want to do here with Greg is I want to compliment on him and his personal growth. I've known Greg probably 9 months, through this whole process. And I remember the first time I met Greg, he was lighting off Tannerite and he was all like fired up about anti, measure 114, which I respect, but we had to kind of tone it down. Right. And so I've seen tremendous growth out of Greg Thomas. And I just want to comment with you is like that's a great comment. We are law abiding citizens. We are their neighbors. We are their coworkers. We are their family members. We are not the problem here. And so, basically, I would I would say that I'm seeing growth in us as Oregon gun owners, and I feel good. I had a really good conversation today with a guy in a gun store, and we talked. He recognized me, and so we started talking from the group, and we had a really great conversation. I really appreciate the conversations, and he is noticing the changes that are happening amongst us, and it's like I feel like there's a vibe, and like it's going the way we need it to go. We just got to keep up the pressure, and we got to keep going. And so Greg, hats off. I saw up here. I want to highlight this right here. Um, right here, you got your son a Red Ryder. Awesome. My dad gave me a Red Ryder at 3 years old, and that's the greatest thing my dad ever gave me because it gave me this love for what I do now. And so, like, I got BBs. Whatever you need, like I will hook your son up, and it's all about paying it forward so he gets that same opportunity. And so, congratulations on that. That's awesome, and that's what this is about, man. This is showing the other side that we're not who they think we are. And I know there's some of us that are. I get it. I respect it. It is what it is, and I know that we're not going to change everybody here. But if we can make incremental changes that we can grow upon, that's where we're going to make these gains. And so I don't want to take too much of your time. Basically, the judge is making it harder for us to maneuver up there. And so that's something that we have to be aware of. And so we have to prepare for that where we're going to be there. And, the media is going to be there. They're going to be asking questions. And so if you don't feel comfortable, just don't answer any questions. Say, I don't have anything to say, and just be respectful. Just say, so there is going to be, there's going to be a lot of pressure up there. And it's because the media is counting on us losing. They are salivating because the thing is though, if this thing, if this thing is up, or I'm trying to think of the right term, either upheld. I'm tired. It's been a long week. So I apologize, but the media needs something to talk about because Measure 114 sells ads just through Google alerts. So every time I get a Google alert and it's not anything related to Measure 114, yet they put Measure 114 in the Google Analytics, like I know they're desperate for clicks because clicks sell ads. And so I do not put it into the group. If it's nothing about Measure 114, I don't give them the time of day. And so that's how we're gonna beat this wall back of the media. So there's just a lot to learn to this stuff. And I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you guys tune in. I'm glad you guys trust me and follow me. Um, yes, come see us. They're free of charge. I got one on Wednesday. So I Wednesday I have a class in Albany and I got like 50 kids signed up. And so I'm gonna be up in Portland. I'm gonna rush down to Albany to do a class with the Albany Police Department with the kids, and then rush back up there just for the night. And And so that, it's going to be a crazy week for me, but I'm really looking forward to doing everything right and being with my people up there, and so that's kind of where we're at, and so that's something to think about. Let's talk about this one, Alicia. This is a really good comment. I really appreciate Alicia. She does a lot to help this group. So um, yeah, Alicia, let's talk about it. I mean, I sent you that email today. They don't have the money. They don't have the resources. They don't have the manpower. Like, yeah, Kevin, I would love to see you there. That would be really helpful if we can get as many people as we can up there. So it makes it look like it's something that's important. And that's another thing about the optics is if we show up and they don't expect us to show up, it says that it means something to us, right? Because we took off work, we're losing a paycheck, we're paying for parking, we're going to buy a sandwich at lunch. There's all this stuff that it's added cost to us, but we're doing it because it's important to us and it's important to our neighbors. And that's what these people don't. Our neighbors have not had a voice in this situation. You haven't had a voice in this situation. And so that's the thing is we have to understand that the system's broken. The system's not going to get any better. They have no clue. I tell you, they have no clue on what to even do. I literally, the 1,200 pages that I went through was an email to an email, and just to set up meetings. And so they had all this. It was all this busy work. And I run an organization. I run a training company, and seeing the lack of inaction, just it drove me literally insane because I know what needs to be done. And so, oh wow, thank you, Christian. I appreciate you. Um, so that's where I'm at. So um, it's about all I got tonight. Just stay tuned for details. I'm going to keep you guys up to date. I'm going to be planning a route. The route's going to have the parking. We'll announce that tomorrow. We'll have a point. Probably want to be there 7:30 a.m. So we can all get ready to go. We'll just kind of meet and we'll talk and get some things. Uh, Absolutely, Kevin, because it's against the narrative. The narrative is this law was going to save all these lives, yet you're targeting the wrong people. And part of me, it's like, as much as I don't want this thing to go into effect, it's like, why don't we let it go into effect, and then all the carnage is still going to happen, and then we can start pointing fingers and start suing them for all the damage that's being caused because of this law. I mean, I don't want it to get to that because I don't want to see anybody die, but it's like, when are we going? When are they going to finally wake up? I guess that would be my question. And so yeah, Kevin, it's this is and it's group thought. It's all group thought. It's they believe what they're told. They don't go out and do the research. They don't go out and do the training. They don't look the places that we look for our information. They get it from a couple of sources. They believe those sources, and those sources are the gospel. And that's why we're in this situation. And it's a bad spot to be. So all we can do is just show up, one foot in front of the other and go to work, clock in and be there. No, I think they're smart. I think they're so smart that they're too smart for their own good. Um, Alicia, I will always hold it down for you guys and hold it down for myself and hold it down for our kids. Like, they have no idea what they're getting into. We have a group of people that are getting together. We're getting better. And so, Alex, yeah, absolutely, Dwayne, 100%. They're not, they're smart like a fox. This is This is where we have to play that 4D chess. And that's where it's super important that we're using their hashtags against them. We're countering the narrative. That's why I do this stuff, right? And people might look at me like I'm crazy. I'm not crazy because I know how my enemy thinks. I know what move there's going to be, and I'm 3 steps ahead of them. And that's where I want to be. I want to be ahead of them, because when I'm ahead of them, I can duck and dive and dip dock. There's a dip, dodge, duck, and from dodgeball. Anyways, I'm tired. I'm out of here. But yeah, they use emotion. They don't use facts. So when we're talking facts, it might as well as be a different language. And absolutely, 100%. Yeah, Dwayne. There's people in the group. Dwayne's a really big asset. He's a good numbers guy. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Troy. I butchered it. I was just like, oh, what do I say? But thank you for that. That's the thing is, like, through this thing, what I've learned is, like, egos, I'm proud of what I've accomplished, but like, my ego is not going to be the end of me, right? I'm not going to fall on my own sword, because if I fall on my sword, then I let a lot of people down, and I'm not going to let anybody down. So that's where I'm at. Yeah. I think oh, sorry, Dwayne. I was just kidding about what I said about Dwayne. um Anyways, yeah, so that's the thing is, only part-time. I'm only part-time too, so it's great. It's a great part-time living. So Alex Cole, I don't think I got to your question. So the question is, she's made it harder for us to maneuver, so we are going to change up our tactics, and we're going to be there. And so she has to look us in the face. And so we're going to set up a plan where we can all be there, and we can be safe, and we're going to represent our neighbors and our friends and our family in a great way. And we're going to show the media that thinks that we're, foaming and frothing at the mouth, that we're rabid dogs, that we are just people like them. And we just want to have our voices be heard. We want our story to be told in an accurate way. That's the only thing that I do. And I'll leave you with this. Whenever I go into a meeting it doesn't matter what I'm doing. If I'm going in front of a camera, if I'm going in front of, a legislator, if I'm going in front of a representative, I hold myself to a standard. Is my behavior going to benefit my neighbor, my friends, and my families that are here in this group? And so this is, and I fail. I've made mistakes. But I try really, really hard to think about and be very, very careful with the words that I say when I'm in those situations. And that's the only thing I would encourage for Monday, is to make sure that we could just take a deep breath, and we focus on our chi, and we get through this together. And so it doesn't mean we get into a shouting match. We keep our cool. If they're going to shout, we let them shout. Just let them get it out. Because and we're going to beat them in court. That's what we do. That's what we do. So I know it doesn't seem like that, and it seems like our backs against the wall, and it really is. But what we're going to do is we're going to put all the cards on the table, see what they land, and then we'll make a move from there. But until then, we have to be there. So I'm going to get off here. You guys have a great night. Thanks for tuning in. I put the information, I'll do it again, in the group, so you guys can read this, what this newest thing from her. And I'm not an attorney. This right here. I had a guy made a comment the other day, is like, I really appreciate the praise. I don't do it for praise, but I appreciate the praise. Let me end you in with this thought. And And the post was thanking me, and I said, yes, I have a really great crew. And then the guy responds and goes, well, thank you to your crew. And I said, hey, guess what? You're part of my crew. And he was kind of taking like, well, what is that? What does that mean? Every one of you that's here that comments, that is part of this process, you are part of my crew, and we're doing this, and we're doing the thing. And so we are a team, and we are going to get through this together, and we're going to be better off because of it. And it's going to take work. And so I guarantee the last thing you guys want to do is listen to me on a Friday night. Go enjoy a beverage, enjoy your family, unwind, but be ready for Monday. So that's where I'm at. So Dan, I appreciate you, Dan. So you guys have a great night, and I'll talk to you tomorrow. You better not say the governor word. Thanks, Chris. I appreciate you guys. But we'll see you. We'll see you. I'll have more information for you tomorrow, and we'll see you Monday morning. So thank you. Have a great night.